Let's see how I decided to choose my hero in Uprising Sealed. Hi friends, welcome back to Nearly Sane Games. I'm Neil, and this is the Armory Report. Now this week's Armory event was Uprising Sealed, and today I really want to look at how I decided to build my deck and what kind of the process I went through to look at my pool and evaluate which hero was going to be best for my deck. Let's take a look. All right, so when I'm going to start looking at this sealed pool, I'm going to start off with what I consider bread and butter. I want to first look at all of the cards that are exactly what our hero wants to do, and I'm going to set those all out. And we're going to be looking at the commons as well as the rares and the majestics and all of that. But we first want to set up what does our deck exactly want to do. Now with Dromai, Dromai's perfect card is going to be a 1 cost, so I can pitch a red, create an ash to play it. Red card with Go Again. This will allow us to power up all of our dragons, give them Go Again. That is ideally what Dromai wants to do. Remember also her dragons, also some of those cost 1 and are red and have Go Again. So there's things that we can put in there, but I want to line up, first I want to line up all the cards that are exactly what they want to do. Phi, exactly what he wants to do is have a 0 or 1 cost card with Go Again. Like we want cheap, we want Go Again, we want red to start off our chain. Icelander exactly wants blue ice cards. Now we're going to get to the other cards in a minute here, but we're going to start with looking at exactly what we have in our pool that fits those best requirements. So let me take a look at that. All right, we start to look and see what we have. We see a picture kind of forming here. First off, Dromai does not have a lot of exactly what she wants. That doesn't necessarily knock her out, but when we come over to Phi, we see that we have 2 Dust Runner Outlaws. We have a Spreading Flames, we have a Soaring Strike, Rising Resentment, and this Inflame can also fit into this group. So we've already started with a good number of exactly what Phi wants to do. But we come over here to Icelander, and Icelander also has a good number of cards that do exactly what we want to do. These are all ice cards. These cost 1 or less, and they're blue pitch. So that's all exactly what we want to do. Okay, so now that we have this set up, the next thing I want to do is to take all the cards that are really good for what we want to do. So with Icelander, this is going to be the other blue cards that we have. This can be other. This can be the wizard actions and the elemental wizard actions and the ice actions that cost more than 1 that we want to put in here. Want to get a grouping of that. For Phi, we want to put in our cards that are, we're still looking for more Go Again, but these will be more of the conditional Go Again, and maybe not the direct Go Again. We can also add in some cards that cost more than 1. We don't want to have too many of those, but we can have a few of those. We can also put in our cards that don't have Go Again, that have big advantage at the end of the chain, if we have any of those. And for Dromai, we're looking for our other big attacks, maybe cards that cost 0 that have Go Again, or potentially 2 that have Go Again. We can also look at those big illusionist attacks that we might want to add in here, that don't necessarily give us the ash that we want, but can really push through a lot of damage. So let's take a look at that. All right, as we look into our secondary line of cards, we can start seeing more of a picture taking place. We've added a few more blues into Icelander, but she certainly doesn't have a really big selection of blues. We also have a few more cards added over to Dromai. Again, not a lot. She's got 6 total of what I would consider bread and butter cards. Meanwhile, Phi, we've added Engulfing Flame Wave, Phoenix Form, Lava Vein Loyalty, 2 Cinderskin Devotions. All of these cards kind of go in with Phi, with these Draconic actions, Searing Touch, Burn Away, 2 Blaze Headlongs. We really have what's shaping up to be a strong pool for Phi. Now, once we have this, we can see kind of where our strength is, and this really tells us which hero are, or maybe 2 heroes that are really strong with what we have in our pool. We're looking for consistency, and the first thing that you want is you want to make sure your bread and butter is there, that you're going to be able to do everything else you want. Icelander needs the blues to do what she needs to do, and we can look into how many generic blues that we have, but this is not. She really wants probably a minimum of 12 blues to really pay for everything in her deck. And Dromai really needs to have those 1 cost, or if not, at least a 0 cost red card with Go Again, so that she can power up her dragons. There's possibly that you can get enough Centipede attacks that you have these big attacks. Transmogrify is actually good in this format, but I'm not seeing it. But Phi is definitely has the cards here. And now, after we've done this, we want to see what other good cards we can put in here. And these could be, like for Icelander, we're going to want to look and see what kind of red cards we can put in there that deal heavy arcane damage. For Dromai, we might want to look at the ward cards that allow us to block with our ashes. And Phi is going to need fuel. We're going to want to have probably between 25 and 33% of Phi's cards we want to have as blue, because we're going to need to power and pay for these things. And also consider Phi's weapon that costs 2 to attack with. We want to use that as much as possible. And you're going to want, I'd really recommend, if you can get 10 reds in there, that's going to be what we want. So we're going to take a look at the rest of the cards and kind of see where everything kind of trickles out with that. All right, as we take a look at the rest, we can see that Dromai just, her pool is super weak. We can pull in a few yellows, which might do something, but these are really not the cards that we want to use. And she has a few blues, but we're going to be relying on the rest of the generic blues, and I think Dromai is just out of the picture right now. We go back over to Icelander, and Icelander's reds are, we have a Sigil of Permafrost, which is a defense reaction. That's not great. Red Aether Darts, Icebind, those are okay, but we're talking about 3 arcane damage. We don't have the 5 arcane damage attacks that we really want to use on our turn. And Polar Cap deals 4 arcane damage, but it costs 2. This is really kind of an oddball. We have a decent number of blue generics that we can use. Most of these are going to block for 2, which isn't great. But as we put everything together, we can see that Phi is really dominating this space. And I mean, this is really a fantastic Phi deck. I did go 4-0 with this deck, and it was extremely powerful. So having the Phoenix form in there, having the consistency of the Dust Runner Outlaws, the Cinderclaw Devotions, the Spreading Flames did a lot of work for me. There's a lot in here that the 2 Blaze Headlongs are great, but you can see that this deck has kind of made itself. I think Dromai just doesn't have what we need there. Definitely the bread and butter isn't there. Icelander has some of the bread and butter. There's probably an argument for going with Icelander, but I don't think that in comparison, Icelander's pool is much weaker than Phi's pool, so I think Phi was the correct way to go. And I kind of tried this method of putting out the bread and butter first and seeing what we got. You also need to look at your generics. I also had an excellent generic pool. I had a red Oasis Respite, which is an excellent generic card, and two Brothers in Arms, which are 6 power attacks. I have these in the sideboard in case I ran up across a Dromai. Having those dragon poppers available to you is great, and you should consider that in the sideboard. Most of the rest of the cards were yellows. Icelander yellows are really hard to do anything with, which makes her a very difficult hero to really get a good sealed pool with. But Phi was definitely dominating what I had available, and so that's the deck I went with. All right, with that said, let's see how my deck did. Now, my first round was against a Phi, and the first thing that you want to do if you're playing Phi against Phi is that you really, 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 really want to go second. You want to be able to take that first attack, block with your hand, and be able to draw back up. All the tempo is going to go to the second player in a Phi mirror. Always, always go second. Always, always, always go second. There's not many heroes that really want to go second, but with Phi, you definitely want to go second. The difference is that, and that's only in the Phi mirror. If you're playing against Dromai, if you're playing against Icelander, you generally don't want to give them a setup turn and you want to go first. But if you're playing the Phi mirror, definitely go second. So I got to go second. And I block out his first attack. And then I come back and I blast him for 9 points of damage. And he returns the favor and blasts me for 9 points of damage. But I really like my hand. And I've got some plans. So I feel bad because I did get 2 Majestics in my pool that fit my hero for this deck. And I had them both in hand for this next line. My next line was pitch a blue and fire off a Spreading Flames for 3. And then I'm able to play a Brand with Cinderclaw from my arsenal. It comes in for 2, thanks to Spreading Flames. I play a Phoenix Flame, which comes in for 2, thanks to Spreading Flames. I activate Phi's ability, get a Phoenix Flame, play a Phoenix Flame. It comes in for 2. And then I play a Phoenix form for 6. And then I'm also able to swing in Emberblade for 4. 19 point damage, turn 2. It's gross. It was really gross hand. So round 2, I'm against Icelander. Now, if you look at the rock, paper, scissors of Uprising, Icelander is the counter to Phi. But I found that Phi can still dump a lot of damage. And if you can dump enough damage at Icelander, she kind of folds. So that was my plan. I'm also running 11 blues in my default deck. So I'm hoping that I have enough blue to counteract the disruption that Icelander is going to bring. And right away, Icelander comes in. Icelander has first turn, so pops me for 5, and I take it. On my return, I'm able to fire off a Spreading Flames for 3, a Phoenix Flame for 2. I pay 1 to get the other Phoenix Flame back, play that Phoenix Flame for 2, and swing in Emberblade for 4. An 11 point swing, and Icelander is going to have to block some of that. And then on the return, I eat another 5. So this turn got a little weird because I didn't have the red card that I needed to really get things going the way I wanted to. So I had the Phoenix Form in hand, and with Phoenix Form, I want to have as many Phoenix Flames as possible. Uh, and I had two Phoenix Flames because I drew one, and I have two Phoenix Flames in the yard, and I want to get them both back. And to do that, I need to start off with my Inflame, but I need to have already played a red. So I had the Oasis Red in my arsenal, and I play that. Um, Now, I've seen a little contention with the rules here. It didn't really matter for this play. I knew kind of what was going to happen. I targeted Waning Moon, and I guess I can't target Waning Moon because it is not a. It's just an object at this point. It is not a damage dealing object, so it doesn't do anything. I know it's not going to do anything. The important thing is I target a player, which is myself, and so uh, the other part of Oasis Respite doesn't have a target. And in response to that, they play a one damage spell out of Arsenal and Waning Moon me for 3, and I eat all of that. I'm not going to give up what I have in place. And then I fire off my Inflame, get my Phoenix Flame back, pops in for 1, Phoenix Flame for 1, pay for the Phoenix Flame, get my other Phoenix Flame, play that for 1, and then I'm able to Phoenix Form for 5, and then I'm able to finish it off with a Searing Touch for extra 2 damage plus the 3. It's really a powerful turn and got a lot done. And then I'm able to block some arcane damage. I use my AB1 and my 2 Quell items. I eat 2. He's at 1. I'm at 4. It's bad news for him. So I'm able to swing over to Soaring Strike for 4, a Cinderskin Devotion for 4, and then my Phoenix Flame is able to finish him off. All right, so round 3, I'm up against another Icelander. And this is for the finishing game, so we're both 2-0. And I just, my starting hand opens up with 3 blues. And I'm able to use the Helios Miter and my Arcane Barrier 1 to block his first attack. And I pitch 2 blues, so I'm able to block 2 for each of them. So I block 4, and I think I take 2 still. And then it's off to the races. I'm able to swing a 3 attack and into a 4 attack, into a Phoenix Flame, into another Phoenix Flame. And then putting on the pressure right away, and I'm able to Lava Vein Loyalty, Phoenix Flame, and do the Searing Touch for another 3 and 2. I think I had another attack in there somewhere. But I was able to get my blues when I probably shouldn't have. I was a little nervous because I was getting a lot of blues. I had 3 blues in my first hand. I think I had 2 blues in my second hand, and maybe 2 blues in my third hand. And I'm worried that I'm burning through too many of my blues. But in the end, it didn't matter. I'm able, I get him down to 1. I'm still at 10. I'm able to Flame Wave for 5, and then send over a Blaze Headlong for 4, and an Ember Blade for 3, finishing him off. Yeah, so that was the matchups, and my deck went 3-0, and it was really powerful. So I'm happy that went very well, and I'm kind of happy with my method of deciding which hero I want to go. Choosing my bread and butter first very much showed me where I wanted to go with my hero, and told me very decisively which hero I should go with. So I will be using that in my future sealed matches with Uprising. So until next time, I'm Neil, and this has been the Armory Report.